All right, Larry Krueger here from the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show with a little 49er video as Kyle Shanahan spoke today, and we recap his Monday press conference. But first, we're brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out. They're in Emeryville and Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Get the brisket chili. Tell them that Krug sent you. And this video is also brought to you by Mancini's Sleep World. Mancini's is a proud sponsor of the Krug Show. They offer 120-night guarantee, and they have a range of brands and price points. I love my Mancini's bed. With Mancini's, you get free next-day delivery. Click the link below or go to sleepworld.com and find a bed that works for you. Whether you shop online or visiting in store, use this deal, this code, Krug10. That's right, Krug10, and you'll get 10% off in-store or online at sleepworld.com. Once again, Krug10, K-R-U-E-G 10, and you'll get 10% off in-store or online at sleepworld.com. And thanks to Mancini's for being a proud sponsor of the Krug Show. All right, let's talk a little bit about Kyle Shanahan. He held court today, his Monday presser after the 49ers lost to the Miami Dolphins yesterday to fall to 6-9. And the Niners, I think, are going to wind up as a 6-win team. I think they're going to lose to Detroit, probably wind up losing the finale to Arizona as well. Both those teams are playing well. So I think it's going to be a 6-11 kind of a year, which is the exact opposite of what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was an 11-6 year in training camp. Instead, it's going to be 6-11. Now, as far as injuries coming out of the game with the Dolphins, Aaron Banks with the MCL, done for the year. Jalen Moore with the quad injury, he's out. Trent Williams will not play anymore this year. That was announced. He's got the ankle sprain. He's not coming back. Spencer Berford's got a calf injury. Dre Greenlaw's got a calf injury. Most likely they're going to shut Greenlaw down for the year, but Kyle says he wants to talk to him first. Jair Brown's got an ankle injury. D. Winters has got a chest injury. They're more limited or day-to-day. Isaac Guerendo's hamstring is healing, and he hopes to be practicing when the team practices on Thursday. No injury for Leonard Floyd, or he's not on the injury list officially. And Brock Purdy, I'd mentioned yesterday that I thought Brock Purdy potentially was going to show up on the concussion protocol. If you saw the way Purdy went down on the interception late in the game, he went down, and as he went down, he hit the back of his head on the way to the ground. And I thought, oh, there's a very good chance that there's some concussion symptoms that appear on the airplane, but it didn't happen. So good news, Brock Purdy is not on the injured list, and neither is Leonard Floyd. The other conversation in this thing today, oh, by the way, the one news of the day, the Carolina Panthers plan to take linebacker Shawn Wooten, the former Auburn player, off the Niners practice squad. Niners had just added Wooten to their practice squad. He had been in Carolina, and Canales, the new head coach for the Panthers, said they have a need at linebacker. They've had Wooten in their building this year, and so Shawn Wooten got a nice little week of vacation out here in San Francisco with the 49ers, but he's headed back to the Carolina Panthers. He'll be placed on their active roster. That's the way the rule works. If you want a guy that's on somebody else's practice squad, you can pluck them, but you can't pluck them and put them on your practice squad. You have to elevate them to your active roster. And in this case, that's exactly what the Panthers did with Shawn Wooten. So he's now no longer a 49er. Shawn Wooten, we barely got a chance to even know you. You came and went before anybody even noticed. Kyle was asked about Dre Greenlaw, and he said it was a huge emotional deal for Dre to get back. It's inspiring to watch Dre's comeback. And then he talked about how, Dre has to be kind of saved from himself. And they took him out of this game after the fourth play. He's trying to show the league that he can bounce back, that he's 100% healthy. If I were the 49ers, I would not let him play the last two games, and I would sign him to an extension. Now, if you're not going to sign him to an extension, then you really can't tell him, if he should play or not in these last two games. And then it's totally his call. But I think the 49ers want to sign him. John Lynch said as much on KMBR earlier this week or last week. And I just think Greenlaw's a Niner. He was, drafted out of Arkansas in the 5th round as a 49er. I think he should be a 49er. And he wants to go out there and prove what he's got. and they have to protect him from himself. Fred Warner said it. Nick Bosa said it. And the Niners have to know their player. He wants to go out there. He's a lion. I mean, this guy will go out there and fight. Nobody has to wonder about that. But it's time to save him from himself. Don't let him play anymore this year and sign him to an extension. And I know he wants a big money long-term extension. I know the Niners would rather do a 1-year deal. How about this? How about a 2-year deal? How about meet in the middle? How about a 2-year deal for Greenlaw and extend a little bit more than you normally would because he's that special of a player? As far as Spencer Berford, he was Kyle was asked about who's the next offensive tackle going to be with all the injuries they've had, and he said it's probably going to be Spencer Burford. So there's a chance that it's Austin Pleasance, who is one of the newest 49ers. But, we're not really sure exactly. That's where we're at in this season. It's either going to be an Austin Pleasance type player or it potentially could be Spencer Burford. So Shanahan said they may promote some guys from their practice squad. They may need to go add an offensive tackle from another team's practice squad to fill out their roster. Kyle was asked about the lack of concentration. Some of the, he had referenced that the offense lacked some concentration. And, 11 penalties. He was referring to the Ricky Pearsall off the ball versus on the ball. Leonard Hankerson yelled at Pearsall, and Kyle was asked about that and said, hey, Pearsall loves to be coached. And Hankerson was yelling at him because he made a mistake. But it sounds like Kittle kind of screwed up one of those, those misalignments. One of them was on Pearsall. One of them was on George. They're all unacceptable. And the bottom line is the 49ers came out on the first drive, they went 3 and out. On the second drive, they had 2 key penalties. And I mean, it's just, they just were not sharp. They were not sharp. So I think when you play a lot of meaningful games and suddenly you play a game that there's absolutely nothing on the line, it's hard to get sharp. It's hard to do all the mental reps when when there's no payoff, there's no playoffs, there's no championship. And so we're going to find out about the Niners and their players' professionalism and their attention to detail and how well they can concentrate and, how much energy they bring down the stretch in these last couple of games. But that's what he was talking about. And then he was asked about Brock Purdy. And it sounded like Kyle expects Brock Purdy to play. I would not have Brock Purdy play anymore because the line's bad and they can't protect him. They gave up 6 hits on the quarterback, 3 sacks, all kinds of pressures. He's running for his life. His receivers aren't open. Get him off the field. I mean, seriously, it's time for Tanner Mordecai. Why even have Tanner Mordecai on your roster if you're not going to play him when the season's lost? This is perfect Tanner Mordecai time. The season's gone. There's nothing to play for. The last thing that you want to, the only thing that can make this tire fire of a season any worse is if Brock Purdy got hurt significantly in week 16, 17, or 18, and suddenly, he wasn't ready for next year and you lost 2025 on the way to losing 2024. You can't have that happen. So no more Brock Purdy. I don't want to see any more Brock Purdy. And I heard Kyle say, 17 game checks and this and that. Screw that. Don't play anybody like Bosa or Greenlaw or anybody that if you didn't have them, it would hurt your Super Bowl chances next year. Don't play those guys. Play other guys. It doesn't matter. The season's over. You won 6 games, okay? Stop fighting. The fight's over. You lost, okay? So that's really it. And as far as, does he have Brock Purdy concerns? I mean, it doesn't sound like Shanahan has concerns about putting Brock Purdy out there with no Aaron Banks, no Trent Williams, practice squad offensive linemen. Come on, be smarter than that. Don't put Brock Purdy out there and subject him to hits behind a Swiss cheese offensive line. And then Kyle was asked about what is the motivation of any of your guys this time of year, and he's like, "Hey, look, our motivation as a team is to play better and win games." Okay, so Kyle's still trying to help things in his ledger of we didn't win 6, we didn't go 6-11, we went 8-9. Okay, great. Either way, you missed the playoffs. And he said, "Hey, look, if you're a pro, you show up. You get paid 17 game checks. Your job is to show up and play. So if you can't show up and play when you're getting paid, then you're probably not in the wrong team. You're probably not in the right organization." Kyle was asked why they've given up. They can't stop the run anymore. They've given up a 100-yard rusher in 4 of the last 5 games. and he didn't really have any answers for it. They're just not very good on defense. Simple as that. And that's why they've given up 100-yard rushers in 4 of the last 5 games, and why they're not really playing well on either side of the ball. But they're, at times it looks like they're playing well defensively, but in reality, they're not putting any heat on the quarterback. They didn't get any sacks of the quarterback 2 weeks in a row. If you can't heat up the quarterback, Tua the week before turned it over 4 times, 3 interceptions and a fumble. Turned it over not at all against the Niners. Why is that? Because there was no pressure. He just sat there comfy, cozy, and did what he wanted. All right, that does it for the Shanahan presser update. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of the Krug Show. Thanks to Mancini's for sponsoring this video. Thanks to all of you guys for supporting the Krug Show on YouTube.